Mr. Superintendent, if you have some of your staff here that doesn't need to be here, feel free to.
Anyone who needs to leave at this time, you're free to go because we'll be listening to the rest of the meeting. And we will adjourn after the listening, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I'll try and remember to do it this time. Cavanaugh, would you start the recordings with Mr. Martin?
My name is Drew Martin. I'm the Conservation Chair of the Loxahatchee Sierra Club, which is the local Sierra Club group that represents Martin, St. Lucie, and Palm Beach counties. I live in the city of Lake Worth Beach. I have two comments, both on non-agenda items. My first comment is I am concerned about the opening of the schools in person and concerned that it could increase the spread of COVID-19 virus. I am particularly concerned because I believe that the virus is still active, and I'm concerned that it will or has the potential to increase the spread of the virus amongst the general population. I also think it's difficult for teachers who may have health risks or are being required to attend schools in person. My second comment has to do, again, with the non-agenda item, and this is the burning of sugar cane in the agricultural area in western Palm Beach County. It is common practice to burn sugar cane prior to harvest. However, I'm concerned that the burning of sugar cane near schools could affect the health and welfare of the students as well as the teachers and other employees. I think the burning of sugar cane is an archaic process that has been proven to be unnecessary, that we can move forward with the mechanical harvesting processes and green infrastructure processes that are used in places such as Brazil. So those are my two comments. Thank you for listening to my comments. Again, I'm opposed to the burning of sugarcane near the school facilities in the western parts of Palm Beach County in agricultural communities. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robert C. Mitchell, a current resident of Belle Glade, Florida, and this comment is for a non-agenda item. I have a family member that is suffering from asthma right now, and it concerns me that our school board in the sugar industry is not concerned enough with the health of our kids and our community. We are in the middle of a pandemic, one that is all over the world. So it would seem to me that it would be common sense that anything messing or causing problems for people with respiratory problems, that thing would, if it could be put on hold. And we have several solutions that can actually consider the community during this time that normally would be the burning of the sugar cane. So I would love to see, and I'm asking the board, as you hear my voice, to please consider our kids, put them first, and don't put the sugar industry first. You know, this is a community, and we're a community of people that are neighbors. And I don't want to see my neighbors, I don't want to see my family, and definitely not our community as a whole continue to suffer with something that cannot be done. So to the board, can you answer for me? Why can they not burn sugar cane? Why can they not turn the pipes to the east? Why do they not burn close to Walmart in Clewiston? If you can answer those questions for me, please, whatever the reason that they cannot do it there, I would like for you to create it and make sure that they cannot do it also in the Glade as well. Our kids, again, are our future. Our community is our future. And I'm hoping that you guys will consider that. And thank you so much for taking out the time just to listen to me. Thank you, board, and you have a blessed day.
Hi, my name is Sarah Johnson. I would like to start by saying I was born and raised in Palm Beach County and completed K-12 in our public schools. Looking back, I know that I received an excellent education. Now I have worked for this district as an educator for 14 years. I've always been proud to work for this district and felt that we had competent leadership at the district level. I can no longer say that. Over the past month and a half, I've been disgusted and truly embarrassed by the lack of leadership and what feels like total incompetence at the district level. Dr. Fenoy, we are tired of hearing your excuses that no one has ever done this before. That was an acceptable answer in March, April, and May. That is no longer acceptable. You have had 6 months to prepare for this, yet in mid-September, you have done nothing besides create a logistical nightmare for administrators and teachers. Last week, you shared that the budget was the only thing that actually kept you up at night. Considering our current situation, that feels like a slap in the face. Let me highlight some failures and issues that should be keeping you up at night. First and foremost, you failed the entire district when you waited to ask parents to make their choice until after the school year started. When asking for their choice, you gave them basic CDC guidelines that were readily available in July. Many other Florida districts had a cutoff date for choice in July or early August so they could properly plan for the school year. Dr. Fenoy, you stated that you don't know of any other county that are pairing students and teachers with virtual or brick and mortar. This is simply untrue. Please refer to the Leon County website. Parents made their choice in July. Teachers and students were paired off, and no simultaneous teaching is occurring. You released your plan on how simultaneous teaching will look 4 days before school opens and only 1 day before ESE classrooms open. You showed how to set up a smart board, but logistically, how will this look and be effective in a kindergarten or ESE classroom? How will both sets of students receive that excellent education they are entitled to? I assure you the child's education will suffer in this model. Finally, the most egregious decision that you did make this month was allowing parents to change their choice whenever they want. Are you and Mr. Oswald so far removed from the school setting that you do not understand how this will negatively affect the operations of a school? You have created this logistical nightmare, dropped it in the laps of principals to figure out mid-September, and then you want to allow this nightmare to reoccur every week. Having parents make a choice and stick with it for at least a trimester is the only way schools are going to be able to function properly. To reiterate how atrocious this decision is, let's take a look at other counties and when their parents are allowed to change their choice. Alachua, every 9 weeks. Brevard, 9 weeks. Citrus, semester. Duval, grading period. Flagler, semester. Hillsborough, every semester. Leon, 9 weeks. Manatee, 9 weeks. Pasco, every semester. Sarasota, every semester. I implore the board to address this decision regarding parents' choice and their ability to change it every week. I would like to finish by reminding the board about the call.
My name is Maria Elena Garcia. I am speaking on the topic of allowing teachers with a vulnerable family member to work remotely. I have been a teacher at Okeechobee Middle School for the past 10 years. I have an adult daughter with autism, so I filed a request to work remotely. My request was denied. I have appealed. I am the only family member and caregiver for my autistic daughter, Naya. As reported on the letter from her doctor, Naya is a nonverbal person with autism who also has a seizure disorder. Due to her developmental disability, she frequently has elopement behavior. My daughter needs constant supervision to prevent her from eloping, and she needs help with vital living functions. Even though she is 19, she is unable to prepare meals for herself, and she needs assistance on daily living such as showering, toileting, and dressing. When I talked with her case manager about what will happen if I were to contract the COVID-19 virus, she told me that we will both have to be isolated for 14 days. And after that, if I was still sick, we will have to see if there was a group home where she could be placed temporarily. It is impossible to isolate myself from her when I have to prepare meals for her, supervise her general safety in the house, and assist her with all daily living functions. If she were to contract the virus, which is very possible since I cannot be isolated from her, it would be very stressful and unsafe for her and for me. Due to her her developmental and language impairments. She cannot express how she feels. At this moment, I have appealed the denial of my request. Since I am the only provider for myself and my daughter, I will be forced to go back to work in the school building in order to pay for our living expenses. The denial of my petition to work remotely will put my health and the safety of my autistic daughter at a very high risk. Again, my name is Maria Elena Garcia. I am a teacher at OKeefe.
My name is Steve Nessum, and I'm calling on a non-agenda item. I wanted to make sure that we are aware that out in the Glades, we have Rosenwald Elementary School, we have Gove Elementary, Pioneer Park Elementary, Glade Central, Canal Point, Pahokee Middle Elementary, and High School that are surrounded by sugar fields. And starting October 1st, sugarcane fields that surround the schools and the Glades will be set ablaze, releasing toxic pollutants in the environment that endangers our students over the course of 6 months. Many of our students suffer from respiratory issues, including my 6-year-old first grade son, who attends Pioneer Park Elementary School. These respiratory issues include asthma. And the CDC guidelines back in June actually recommended that temporary ban of burning of agricultural fields, which includes sugarcane fields, be considered in this upcoming flu season, which is in the heart of our school year, because of the increased risk it has for children, pregnant women, and the elderly. We're asking that the sugar industry be good neighbors for us out here in the Glades industry and practice green harvesting instead of burning the cane, which rains down black snow and those toxic pollutants on us. It not only affects our people, it also affects the facilities. I think it was Board Chair Barbieri who saw the deterioration in Pahokee High School. And most of that is due to the exposure of the constant sugarcane pollutants when they're burning those fields that impacts mechanical systems and the like. So we're just asking that the school district to petition the sugar industry to practice social distancing by green harvesting instead of burning those sugar fields during this upcoming harvest season, which rains down black snow and pollutants on our students, staff, and facilities. You guys have a lot on your plate, and I'm sure that you guys are caring about our children and our staff and the teachers out in our schools in the Glades. But also, just be reminded that with COVID-19 and the increased health effects that the burning of these agricultural fields present is another added thing that we have to deal with out in the Glades. And I know that the school district leased land to U.S. Sugar for Rosenwald next to Rosenwald Elementary School. We're just asking them to be good neighbors. And instead of burning those fields, to green harvest those fields so it can keep us safe from a health issue and just from a quality of life, not dealing with those smoke and pollutants that will cause us to spend more money on pressure cleaning our home, having to pressure clean the schools and all the other maintenance things that increase costs for the school district. Thank you for your time. Be safe, and God bless.
Hello, my name is Megan Bell. I am a teacher and a parent here in Palm Beach County. I also was a student at Palm Beach County Schools for most of my life. So I am calling today because I'm very, very concerned at the chaotic and disorganized situation that's happening surrounding school reopening. Although my principal has moved mountains and done Herculean tasks in order to maintain student and staff safety, she has been hamstringed at every moment by the district's and the school board's ineffective and inefficient method of maintaining safety while we reopen. I believe that thousands of teachers applied to have distance accommodations because it is unsafe to begin in-person instruction at this time. So beginning in-person instruction presents a clear health danger to thousands of our employees, and that is why they applied for accommodations and their doctors agreed. More than half of parents and of students in our school district, including myself, have decided that it is unsafe for our children to gather in large groups for hours and hours at a time at this moment. So I understand that the school district is feeling pressure from the state, but this is an illegal order that the governor has put upon our counties, and that is why it is in litigation right now. We should not be attempting to reopen in-person schools at this time because it is not safe and because there is no safety mechanisms that have been put in place by the district that would make it safe. So please consider pushing the start date back, consider keeping everyone using distance learning, and thank you for your time.
Hi, this is Catherine Martinez. I'm a retired teacher. I live in Belle Glade, but I taught at Pahokee High School. I would like to speak to a non-agenda item. Given the fact that we are coming up on sugarcane harvesting now in October and all the dangers from COVID-19 and bad air quality, I would like the school board to address the issue of the burning of cane in the area around Belle Glade, South Bay, and Pahokee. I personally have seen black ash floating through the atrium of Pahokee High School. Pahokee Middle School. And it is appalling that the school board is continuing to support this practice, especially because they receive financial support from the sugarcane industry. I've also walked out of my house in Belle Glade and seen my car covered with black ash. And you can know that if the ash is in the air that way, it's going to affect people's quality of life and any health condition they might have. I would like to encourage the school board to look at the possibility of working with the sugarcane industry to use regenerative agriculture, and also to use non-burning methods of cane harvesting. These are being done in Brazil, they're being done in Louisiana, and I think that we need to look at that here. So I would definitely like the school board to look at this issue, and please think about the health of our students. We need to put student health before any other considerations, especially now in this time of COVID. And, the South Bay School, while it receives money from renting the sugarcane land, we also have to think about how much this can affect the health of the students that attend the school. So, as I said, I would like the school board to look at ways of working with the sugarcane industry. We're not looking to shut down this industry because this employs people in our area. What we would like to do is to look at environmentally friendly ways of harvesting the cane, and there are also ways that we can use the bagasse and these other materials to use different kinds of. Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time. Bye.
My name is Rhonda Berkowski. I'm calling as we have a student in Palm Beach County School District 6. I am calling for representation to retain School Superintendent Donald Fenoy. I have been contacted multiple times directly and personally by Mr. Fenoy for concerns that I have having a special needs child in the Palm Beach County School District. Mr. Fenoy has been dealt with times that are uncharted waters for anyone in our Palm Beach County School District. He is fighting to maintain the framework and the integrity of the system that we have up and in place for the principals and staff in our school. It is detrimental to retain School Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy for the stability of our children and the integrities of the future of our schools. Please put in my vote as retention for School Superintendent Donald Fenoy. He is doing an amazing job. Have a good day.
Good evening. My name is Eric Cajo, and I would like to address the non-agenda item I like to call the Palm Beach County School Board Soup Sandwich Plan. This is the plan that you will implement next Monday. 7 months this council has had to be leaders, thinkers, and pioneers of an innovative blueprint for an ideal school opening, an opening to be proud of for less than an ideal situation. We could have had a 7-course meal plan full of delicious virtual and classroom teachers, spiced with relevant summer training for teachers, featured with succulent and savory safety measures, completed by satisfied parents and top-of-top performing students. But instead we waited and waited for someone else to implement a plan that you spun into the soup sandwich plan that we are adopting Monday. But we can't dwell on the past and we can't cry over spilled milk, so soup sandwich it is. So, Monday morning, when you are drinking your coffee at your desk and high-fiving, oh wait, that's not socially distant, Zoom saluting each other, teachers will be arriving at school earlier than conscious in order to ensure students are able to stay socially distant and enter their bland classrooms, sitting at their desks with or without a computer, devoid of bookcases, of books, and other shared tools for tactile education stimulation. These students will wear masks dependent on parental mandate, since the school board stance on parents and students is to hide in the corner and avoid eye contact. Let them have whatever they want, and they are always right, and the teacher's always wrong. Come to think, your stance with teacher is what tell them whatever they need to hear and strip them of any self-dignity later. Supporting them is not required. Here's where it gets good. Here enters your teachers, those employees who deserve most but get only what budget scraps you have left for them and their classroom. These people are the heroes that will do their best to make this soup sandwich plan and fabricate it into a 3-course meal, salvaging this school board of possible humiliation. Monday and every day, these teachers will most likely be stretched to an unsustainable limit and mentally break down. You council members will probably be home with your virtually educated kids and done with your dinner before a tired and tattered teacher will make it home to their family, scared to set foot inside after spending a day managing 2 classrooms face-to-face and virtually, eating within their vehicles, cleaning like a janitor with their annual supply of 400 wipes, exposing themselves to COVID without inadequate personal protection. All this inside a classroom thrown together to accommodate as many students as possible. And what will they eat before crashing for the night? Probably a soup sandwich dinner. Why do they do it, Dr. Fenoy and council? It's not for the pay. It's not for the parental wavering support. It's not for the school board, and definitely not for your less than motivational speech for teachers, Dr. Fenoy. It is for the students, which this council forgot. The students are the reason these teachers band together in an attempt to make your soup sandwich plan look good. No confidence, Dr. Fenoy. Lead from the front, not the rear, in order to quietly raise your own self-serving salaries.
Hello, my name is Ann Haskel, and I live in Belgrade. I'm speaking on a non-agenda item. With October 1st starting the sugarcane burning season, I am hoping that the school board will consider your role in supporting the sugar industry's disregard for our students' health. This needs to be addressed. Thank you.
My name is Kimberley Mitchell. I'm the Executive Director of the Everglades Trust and a lifelong resident of Palm Beach County. Good evening, school board members and district staff. In some form or fashion, I've been involved in Everglades restoration since 1994. One of the harshest practices of the industry, the sugar industry, is their preferred method of harvesting the cane. This cheap and archaic method chokes the air with chemicals and soot. Every year from October through May, they set fire to more than 400,000 acres in the Everglades. I've stood in Cajo during the sugarcane harvest season. I felt the heat of the flames and gagged on the smoke. I've gotten nosebleeds and headaches from the toxins in the air. I've washed the black snow from my car. I cannot imagine what it would be to live there, and I cannot, for the life of me, imagine how this could be tolerated any longer. I say this for myself and on behalf of the Everglades Trust. Black Lives Matter. Not only does the polluted ash rain down on nearby communities, it is directly affecting the health and quality of life for low-income communities of color. This is not harmless farming. This is industrial-scale desecration of the environment, and it is exacting a horrible toll on innocent families living in the middle of it. The CDC has recommended a complete ban on agricultural burns in light of the pandemic, COVID, a disease of the respiratory system that has already exacted a cruel price in the Glades communities. Keep in mind, this is a disease so scary, it has all of us participating in this meeting remotely and me by a pre-recorded message. There's only one office holder in Florida who can permanently bring an end to this, the Commissioner of Agriculture, Nikki Freed, and we are calling on her to do so. But right now, the school district is an active participant in these burns, and you can do something about it. So I ask, who among you is willing to put Glades families ahead of the bottom line for the sugar industry? Those are my comments. Thank you very much for your attention.
My name is Suzanne Alambo. I'm a parent as well as a teacher within Palm Beach County Schools. I am commenting on the lack of preparation for reopening the schools, and I wanted to express my concern that although the date may have been sooner than we anticipated, I'm disappointed that there were not 1, 2, 3 different versions on how to reopen the schools. It feels like we're starting the school year blind, deaf, a little dumb, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to best serve our students when we cannot fully prepare. I know this is a difficult time for everybody. I don't admire anybody in these decision-making positions. However, this is a time when decisions have to be made.
My name is Terry Williams, and I will be speaking on a non-agenda item. I'm going to be speaking about the priority application process for teachers to apply for remote positions within the district. I reached out to the Human Resources Department so I could best understand the options available to me and how to best pursue the application for priority status. I would like to read to you the questions and the answers that I received from the district Human Resources Department so you can understand my concern. Here's the first question that I asked. When will I be allowed to apply for a lower priority if I'm denied at a higher priority and want to pursue an appeal? The response is after receiving a response from the panel on your initial inquiry. Second question, do I have to wait for the end of the appeal to apply for a lower priority status? Yes. So those two alone are in conflict. According to the response from the district, after the response is received from the initial inquiry, I can apply for a lower priority. But then the very next question, they tell me I have to wait for the end of the appeal process to apply for that lower priority status. That's one problem that I have. Here is the third question. Will the appeal be heard and resolved prior to the allocation of the remote positions? This is the most disturbing response. No information is available regarding the actual appeal process. Let me repeat the response. No information is available regarding the actual appeal process. My next question, if the appeal is denied and I reapply for a lower priority, will I be placed at the back of the line because my new application was turned in later than others, or will my place be according to the time I originally filed my first priority application? Once again, the response is no information is available regarding the actual appeal process. I asked a couple more questions. I won't read them into the record now, but let's suffice it to say that the answers are no information is available regarding the actual appeal process. My concern is how can I make the decision that is best for me, my family, my coworkers, and my school? that I don't even have an entire process to review and understand before making a decision. I'm very disheartened that this was not thought through way before now. I'm not here to assign blame. I'm here to ask for clarification. What is someone to do in this position? Please speak to us and tell us what we should do when we don't have a complete process in order to make a decision.
My name is Rochelle Stboyd. I have 3 children attending school in this district. I'd like to address the recent noise from the CTU calling for the firing of Dr. Fenoy. This is wrong and unfair and will not solve anything for the betterment of our students. Fenoy, all school district employees, principals, teachers, parents, and students are in an impossible situation. Firing him will make managing this problem that much more difficult. This should not even be up for consideration, and if it is, this same heat and pressure needs to be applied to Rhonda Berkowski, Cochran, and every single elected school board member should also step down because Fenoy is not making this decision on his own. And to the parents, understand we're all not going to get what we want. The district has to do what's best for all children, not just your own. Stop making unreasonable and impossible demands that only serve your child. Thank you.
Hello, this is Reverend Amicus Vial. I'm calling in regards to the request to have Fenoy resign. I'm 100% behind this. There's been no plan. I cannot understand why this man would get up in front of a camera and say the words he said to teachers last night. This conveys a complete lack of respect for the profession, for the community, and for our children. Furthermore, his lack of planning, his lack of empathy, his lack of professionalism is a stain on Palm Beach County, the school board, and the education profession. I hope the board will consider Mr. Katz's request to accept his resignation and have him removed from office forthwith. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dana Torres, and I'm submitting a non-agenda item comment. I'm calling in regards to the sugarcane burning that is posing a serious health risk, especially in the light of COVID-19. The CDC has recommended a complete ban on agricultural burns during COVID. With that said, the school district is leasing land to the sugar industry, knowing that they're going to be burning the fields surrounding the school every school year. And it's been causing a lot of hospitalizations of the students in the past. Nebulizers are having to be used constantly at the school, and some of the teachers have had to quit their jobs because of this risk. If the school is going to continue to lease this land to the sugar industry, we're demanding that you include a provision in the lease to ban sugarcane burning on the field and insist that green harvesting is used instead. This green harvesting is being implemented by other corporations, by predominantly white neighborhoods, so there's no excuse and no reason why it can't be implemented in predominantly black neighborhoods. We've seen environmental racism go on throughout the country, and it's not going to be allowed to continue to happen here. I hope that the school board steps up and makes these demands for their students, for their children, our children that are living in this community and in this county, and we're not posing additional risk to them because people want to continue to make their profits. So I'm asking, please,
Hello, my name is Sister Laura Cavanaugh, and I am a Sister of the Blessed Sacrament. I have lived in Belgrade and ministered in the Glades community since 1994. As the fall season begins for all of us, but here in the Glades, it is a season when the sugarcane fields will again be burned. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this is a non-agenda topic. This is regarding the burning of sugarcane fields in the Glades area. It's burned near our communities and our schools, probably for about the next 7 months. This is during the current pandemic when our already very vulnerable population is exposed to the additional risk factor
of respiratory toxins. I lived with Sister Ann Meehan, who is another sister here. She was a school nurse in Belglade and South Bay. And she remembers and tells me about during this season how many, many children were constantly be coming into the nurse's office, and she kept many, many of the inhalators ready for the kids. I realized that the Glades Public Schools have kept windows closed, and you have limited the outside exposure to the smoky air pollution. But every day, I worked with after-school kids a lot. I was the director of Glades Kids for many years, and I work with the kids in the neighborhood still. I see kids walking to and from school, playing outdoors, and going home to apartments with no air conditioning. They are breathing through windows. Actually, I do that too, and I have asthma, but it's not the best. I find it really hard for me to believe that the school board has not joined in supporting those who are calling for a buffer zone around the cities of our Glades communities to prevent the smoke, the burning up close. When it comes to choosing between healthy communities, schools, and children, or facilitating the sugar companies' desire to keep on burning, just as it's the easiest way to go, I wonder why is this so difficult for the school board and why you would hesitate. Perhaps it's because the school district is actually leasing land to the sugar growers where they continue to burn near our schools, actually. Is there anyone on the board who is capable of addressing and doing anything to protect our children? Thank you.
Good morning. This is Dominique Austin. I am a parent in Boca Raton. I have two children who are in the Palm Beach school district. One is in middle school and one is starting high school. And though I understand that this has been a difficult time for everyone, I realize that the teachers union is calling for the superintendent to be removed. And I would like for everyone to take into consideration that at this time, though everything is extremely difficult for both parents, teachers, and administrators, this would only further confuse any potential we have to have some kind of order. Parents are indeed suffering. Not everybody can stay home. Teachers have to attend to online as well as students in the class when we return on the 21st. But this will not solve anything as we would, if we move forward with removing the superintendent, all we're going to do is create a situation where there's now avoid further chaos and the children and teachers would suffer even more. Thank you for taking this into consideration.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Jeff Van Trees, Law Academy teacher at Palm Beach Lakes High School, adjunct professor of business law and environmental science at Palm Beach State College, and attorney of counsel at Zeplo and Farwell, PA. The school district continues to openly defy Article 9 of the Florida Constitution, which requires that schools be, quote, safe, unquote. The fact that this board has continued to meet remotely post-Phase 2 reopening is proof positive they have no conviction whatsoever that conditions are safe to reopen schools. What is particularly egregious is that the remote work option is now being shifted from the district to principals, who are now being asked to violate Article 9, thereby putting themselves in peril of legal action being taken against them. I take particular issue with Dr. Fenoy's statement that he can't please everyone. This board and the superintendent have a duty to follow the Florida Constitution. This is true regardless of who is pleased or unpleased by following through with that duty. The political pressure to provide child care is the only driver behind this reopening, and the district is violating our Constitution in order to placate those that are more interested in babysitting than whether students and teachers live or die. However, this political pressure will shift significantly once people start dying, and these hollow excuses will no longer suffice once the damage from this horrible virus starts taking effect. Thank you.
My name is Emmy Kenny, and I have a non-agenda item comment for the school board. It's come to my attention recently that the school board is leasing land to the sugar industry next to Rosemont Elementary in South Bay. knowing that each harvesting season, the sugarcane fields directly next to the school will be burned. And as we all know by now, sugarcane burning poses a serious health threat to anyone caught in the smoke and exposed to the fine particulate matter in the air. And this has caused students to be hospitalized in the past. Teachers have reported the constant use of nebulizers and inhalers in the classroom. Some teachers have even had to quit their jobs and move for the sake of their health. The CDC has recommended a complete ban on agricultural burns in light of COVID-19, since even a small amount of air pollution can make COVID more deadly. And this shows just how dangerous this practice is right now. And there is a healthy alternative, green harvesting. It's already practiced around the world and in some fields in the Glades, including the field next to Walmart in Clewiston, because when the Walmart was built, they demanded that there be no burns on surrounding fields for the sake of their business, and they used green harvesting instead. So if the school board is going to continue leasing this land to sugar, there must be a provision included in the lease that bans sugarcane burning on those fields next to Rosenwald. There's absolutely no excuse for putting your students and employees at heightened risk for profit ever, but especially during a deadly pandemic. And for years, the school district has allowed this to continue, even paying for the custodians to clean up sugar's mess and designing a new school that would allow students to move around campus without having to go outside because of the burns. So it's time now to stand up and finally do the right thing. A failure to act now jeopardizes students and teachers more than ever, and no amount of profit is worth that. So either stop leasing school property to sugar or demand that they stop burning on the fields next to Rosenwald Elementary.
Hi, this is a non-agenda item for tonight's meeting. My name is Catherine Toms, and I'd like to leave this message. I live in Delray Beach, and I'm a physician and a mother. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the school board for their hard work and dedication in preparing for the return to school in this pandemic. My daughter suffered from childhood asthma, so protecting children from harmful pollutants is near and dear to my heart. I want to ask the board members to reevaluate the school board's relationship to the sugarcane industry, specifically the leasing of the property adjacent to Rosenwald Elementary School to sugarcane fields. Please call for a stop to sugarcane burning this fall, especially during the COVID pandemic. And I urge you to use your power to urge sugarcane companies in Palm Beach County to adopt clean, economical, burn-free practices and keep our children's health in the forefront of whatever you do. Thank you so much.
Yes, my name is Gloria Shuttlesworth, and I'm calling in support of Dr. Fenoy. We just got him in and settled and doing what's the best for our students, and this is not a tried and true mechanism for any city or state. My grandchildren went to school, and they have contracted the coronavirus out in California, and I don't want the same thing to happen here in West Palm Beach. Please take this seriously. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Angela Shuttlesworth of Be Lead Grow, a certified minority business enterprise within Palm Beach County, and also as a resident. This is in response to the attempt to call for the resignation of Dr. Fenoy. In addition to public comment, I want to highlight that I have witnessed this superintendent be extremely open to the feedback, needs, concerns, desires of not only students and staff and administration, but also his community partners and leaders. I have seen and witnessed a unprecedented desire not only for quote-unquote dealing in crisis, but for also looking at innovative ways to partner to be able to fill the gaps. We have been made aware of a lot of things that were issues with inequity prior to this pandemic. However, we've been able to say, okay, what are some things that we weren't doing in the past that we can do in this moment? for that reason, I feel like we need to pause for the cause. So yes, of course, it's easy to say that, just get somebody out of here. We need somebody new. However, I want us to pause and ask the questions, has he been open to communication? How has he articulated and been a feedback loop for the community, residents, administration, being aware of what's happening around the country, but also being aware of our unique needs right here in Palm Beach County. How he has been able to demonstrate empathy and decision-making in the midst of a crisis. I feel like those are things that are important when we look at healthy leadership, and it is our desire as community members to make our voices be known as well, to say, yes, our children matter, the experience of teachers and staff matter, and we also know that we want to be safe, right? We want to have options, and the belief, lastly, I'll say, the belief in the principals to be able to make decisions, knowing what they have access to as far as resources are concerned, knowing that they can make a request, right? Beyond what they have in this moment is something that we want to be aware of, that there are systems put in place. And so when we are talking about firing Dr. Fenoy, we're not just talking about firing him, but we're also saying, okay, let's go ahead and destroy these systems that have been worked on and planned. Again, if it's not. And in closing, I thank all of us for our willingness to be open and to listen and to give ourselves permission.
My name is David Shanzer. I am the spouse of a Palm Beach County school teacher with underlying health conditions. So cases and deaths went up today, but you forge ahead. Dr. Alonso is concerned that without rapid testing in place, schools will create a large spike in infections. Those potentially lead to severe illness, chronic conditions, and death, but you forge ahead. This week, we found out that the data from the CDC is being altered to align with Trump's messaging by HHS. The FDA falsely promoted hydrochloroquine and convalescent plasma when pressured by Trump in press events to create a false picture of breakthroughs to boost his numbers. Their credibility is shot. They've been politicized, yet those are the guidelines you've adopted in pushing schools open. There are many other epidemiological specialists you could count on instead: Hopkins, Langone, Tufts, etc. A false narrative has been created that only people with underlying health conditions are at risk. We're all at risk, particularly those with comorbidities. Many vibrant, young, healthy people have contracted this virus and ended up with chronic conditions or died. I remind you that since this is a new virus, there is still much we don't know. For example, Penn State athletes had asymptomatic illness and now months later have myocarditis, which is deadly. Yet you forge ahead as if, oh, well, we have to take a chance because the governor said we had to. Employees don't live in a bubble. Not only are they at risk, they come home to family who are then at risk. This was addressed at the 11th hour and now has turned into a complete train wreck. Yesterday, Dr. Fenoy scolded teachers as if they are somehow selfish in looking after their own health or that of their loved ones. He should be pointing at himself and the board. These accommodations should have been mapped out in May, not days before you force schools open. Many of your valuable teachers will take leaves or just resign. Others, in an effort to show their can-do attitude and let's make the best of it, will march onto campuses and risk their own health and that of their families. This is not a shortage of supplies. This is life and death and a public safety issue. Every infectious disease doctor I've heard has said avoid crowded indoor spaces with poor ventilation. Schools are the poster child of that scenario, yet you forge ahead. This borders on criminal negligence. Dr. Fenoy should be terminated immediately. I've watched the board meetings for the past months, and I keep hearing a collective sigh of, gee whiz, we're under orders from the governor and the DOE. Our hands are tied. The governor and the DOE have one goal: to deliver Trump Florida in November, and believe schools being open will allow parents to get back to work and squeeze an economic number or two, period. I imagine you all fear losing funding since they threaten you with that outcome. Show some guts. You have lawyers. Withholding funds to a district must have some legal teeth. In Des Moines, Iowa, the school board stepped up and defied the governor and remained virtual. So forge ahead, open the schools, and let's also...
Good afternoon. I do not see athletics on the agenda, but this is in regards to the athletic plan and games. It was addressed by myself and by a board member about playing football on only 3 fields. It's certainly not fair to most teams. I asked for valid reasons, and all that was mentioned was the use of artificial turf. Back-to-back games have already been played on other fields in the past, and the fact that you can schedule games on both Fridays and Saturdays is even more opportunity to spread out. It makes no sense to stay on 3 fields. Athletes want to play home games, and you are preventing too many underprivileged families from seeing their boys play ball this year, and that's not acceptable. Not everyone can travel. You are forcing most teams to travel on a bus regularly, which is counterproductive and expensive. You made the plan too complicated, so it's time to simplify the plan and be logical. Play on all fields and do right by these athletes. I also asked you about other extracurricular activities. The plan did not address these, and parents are wondering what the status is for activities such as chorus and band. Parents of middle school students are also wondering about middle school sports, as they were not addressed either. We ask that you address these issues today so parents have answers. Again, parents and athletes are trusting that you will do the right thing and utilize all home fields for upcoming varsity football games. It's important to the community and for our players. Each team should have the home team advantage at some point, and our seniors should enjoy being recognized on their own turf during senior night. This will be the last time they are there. We are depending on you to do right by these athletes. It may seem insignificant to you, but it is important to all of us, the athletes and families. It's a battle worth fighting. Thank you for your time. And this was Christine Januszewski.
Hi, my name is Christina Duckman. I'm a 3rd grade teacher with Palm Beach County. I applied for remote virtual teaching on September 8th under Category 2, and I have yet to hear back, despite talking to others that have applied yesterday or the day before and have already heard. I have an extremely supportive principal that is trying to work with me and is able to help me, but cannot until I get that approval. And I'm curious as to what happened to this 800 application a day process that we were told. Additionally, Dr. Fenoy, I supported you when you were appointed. I cried with you during your board comments regarding the death of George Floyd, and I still do. But now is the time to have your teachers back. Contrary to your video you posted yesterday, I have never stopped thinking of the children. None of my colleagues have. We work day and night on weekends, and I know you guys are too. But we really needed your support, your strength, your leadership, and I'm disappointed. I hope something comes from the meeting today that will change my mind. We're all struggling here, and we really need someone to understand that and support us and encourage us. We're in this together, but that message didn't feel like it to a lot of us. So I look forward to hearing the meeting tonight and what things will look like going forward. I'm thinking of my colleagues that are heading back to the classroom, because if I don't get this approval, I'm taking a leave of absence, which is a shame because I've already bonded with my classes and I adore them, and I don't want to leave them, and I shouldn't have to leave them, but I'm being left with no choice. So I'm thinking of everyone out there, all my teacher friends and my students, and I hope the board makes the right decision. Thank you.
Hi, this is Cindy Marsh calling. I'm calling on behalf of removing the superintendent because the way he's handled the pandemic. Well, first of all, if you're going to remove the superintendent, remove your so-called leader in the White House, the idiot. I don't even like to call his name. And second of all, they're rushing out of here with the vaccine for our kids and for everybody else. Who said that's going to be okay? All of this is a political game. It's time to put political game aside and worry about the American people, the safety for our children, and making sure the CDC is up on everything and making sure that our kids do return back to school with safe measurements. The guns is already abusing our kids and killing our kids. The children leaving out the schoolhouse. It's just like a doorstep for the devil. So if you're going to remove the superintendent, once again, I reiterate, remove that idiot in the White House because he knew about this thing. He been knew about it. And all I can say for our people is to get out and vote the right choice. Go blue all the way because enough is enough already.
Hello, this is Robert Weiner calling. I had called last week. I do not have a agenda item to speak to as I have perused the agenda. I have found no items relevant to what I have to say. So I am just speaking freely about general topics having to do with the county. First, I want to say that while I do not necessarily agree with the timing of Mr. Katz's call for Dr. Fenoy to consider resigning or to resign or to be removed, I do support that fully and believe it is the proper course of action, especially in light of his incredibly tone-deaf statement last evening. Dr. Fenoy, if you're listening to this, I did put my name in there. If you care to reach out and speak to me about it, please feel free to do so. I am more than happy to have a conversation. Beyond that, the real truth of the matter is this. As we look around and we watch and we read the news and we see what's going on, we know for a fact at this point that the Florida Department of Health is lying to us. We know for a fact that schools are not ready to be open. We saw Dr. Alonso in Tuesday's meeting with the county almost shaking at the idea of opening schools. And yet here we are with Dr. Fenoy now firmly pointing the blame at teachers, which is entirely unacceptable on almost every level, bordering on inhumane. And that type of treatment really only deserves one outcome. Thankfully for Dr. Fenoy, that outcome is prohibited by the Florida Constitution. However, to quote another black man who found problems with power and was not afraid to face them, an unjust law is no law at all. And I call on all of my fellow union members listening, and I call on my union president, who I also hope is listening, to remember those words. Because without them, without that idea, without that ideal, we are not Americans. We are not who we say we are. We just follow along like dogs led around on a leash. However, we are not animals. We are not inhuman. We are humans, and we deserve to be treated as such. That is all I am going to say, because if I say anything further, it will move into the incivility zone, and I wouldn't want to go there on a recorded line. Have a very good night. Dr. Robinson, as always, thank you for your advocacy. Mr. Barbieri, as always, I appreciate every time you speak and interact with me. And to the rest of the board, I hope to one day get to actually, as I was supposed to have back on April 15th, when things return more to normal. Have a good night. Good luck.
Board members, that's the end of the speakers. Mr. Superintendent, do you have anything else?
No, sir, I have nothing else today.
Board members, do you have anything? Motion to adjourn made by Mrs. Brill, second by Vice Chairman Shaw. All in favor, opposed? Motion carries. Oh, one thing, hold on a minute. For the speakers that are listening, if the IT still has us on, the calls are set automatically at 3 minutes. I've been told by communications that there's on Facebook or social media, it's saying that we're cutting speakers off. They're timed for 3 minutes, just like speakers are at the board meeting. So if you're hearing people get cut off, it's only because the timer on the telephone call stops at 3 minutes. With that, we'll adjourn the meeting.